everybody, it's the Crazy Spartan again, and today I'm going to be going over a game type that I created. It's in my file share, and it's called Ultra Slayer. Now, my gamer tag is Crazed Spartan, just as it is, no spaces, no X's, no nothing. Crazed Spartan 2. Now, it's Roman number 2, which means two eyes. Um, so go ahead and check that out. I'm going to leave a link down below so you can check it out, maybe download it if this interests you at all. What it is and why I made these settings is kind of what I'm going to go over today. The Ultra Slayer, the main purpose of it was I wanted to create something that was much more consistent than Infinity Slayer with all the randomness of weapon drops and etc. It just, to me, it's frustrating, and I love playing Halo 4. I love playing that game. But it's just so frustrating sometimes because I run around a corner and I have no idea what the other player has. I mean, they have railguns, rockets, snipers. I mean, you just don't know what anybody has in Infinity Slayer settings. So that's what I wanted to address. I wanted to be able to incorporate armor abilities, and I wanted to incorporate ordnance drops and make them a little bit more competitive setting. Now, I'm presented this to Clean Up on his channel. He says he likes it, so that's awesome. I'm glad he definitely has taken a liking to it. So we might be trying this out on Battle Royale on his channel. Absolutely, if he is, this is incredible. I mean, something like that being placed on his channel is just going to be a good thing all around, because maybe it'll get some popularity for all you guys in your custom games. All right, what we are going to go into is I'm going to jump right in and get this done because it's kind of quite a bit to cover. Now, start off here with the loadouts. When you get into your screen, you're going to see three loadouts, and they're almost exactly the same. And to start off with BR starts, the reason I chose BRs is because BR to me is just an all-around good, solid weapon to have at the start. If you want to adjust this to AR starts or light rifle starts, DMR starts, I mean, all that is perfectly fine, though I would highly recommend that whatever you do, if that's what you want to do, is to change that, make it consistent across the three of them. All right, next weapon I chose was your secondary, and that is the Magnum. Again, this is another solid all-around weapon, great for cleanup kills, etc. So definitely pick that. I did not want the plasma pistol or bolt shot because they are, in my opinion, overpowered, especially in certain instances. Pocket shotguns are just not cool in my opinion. If they're map pickups, absolutely don't have a problem with any of them. All right, next thing is you're going to see is the armor abilities. Now, I picked three different armor abilities. Now, this is essentially what you're going to have the choice of, is those three. And I picked Hard Light Shield, I picked Thruster Pack, and I picked up Hologram. The reason I picked these three armor abilities in your loadouts is because I believe these are your most balanced armor abilities overall. So you got your choice. This is kind of more like along the lines of Reach, Halo Reach, what they did. You had your set loadouts, but you could choose kind of which armor ability you wanted to use at any given time. All right, moving on. I also picked the for the tactical packages and armor upgrades, I picked the resupply because honestly, resupply just makes sense. Halo has had that ever since the beginning, that if you walked over a dead body, you should be able to pick up grenades. And I also picked explosives. The reason I picked that is because it adds more consistency with the grenades. I mean, it reduces the amount of damage you take, and it increases the damage that grenades do, so it's fairly consistent as to what it is, what's happening with grenades. So that is the essential loadout as to why I picked those. Now let's get into radar. Now I added radar to this. If you want to make this more of a pro version, just go into settings, take out the radar, easily done. But I personally like having radar. I am, like I said, a mediocre player at best. So having that radar really helps me. Even if I'm communicating with my team, it makes a huge difference to have a general idea as to where the other players are, including my teammates and the enemy. Now I have gone in there and I have also done one other thing, and I had for points wise, I made it 1 kill equals 1 point. The reason I did this is because I just feel it brings along that classic Halo feel of 1 point all the way up to 50 points for the win, and of course 100 points I think for a big team. Just makes sense. I don't understand why they added a 0 to the end of every kill in Halo 4. It just made it's like why are you doing it? It makes no sense. That's just adding stuff for adding stuff. All right, and it also enabled betrayals and stuff like that because, again, I like that being in there. So if you do have rockets or fuel rod guns, you cannot just fire away like mad and your teammates are just going to come out of it unscathed. This is also, again, a more classic Halo feel, in my opinion. All right, now I'm going to get into kind of the meat and potatoes of this setup, this game mode. Now that is your ordnance drops. Now this is very unique, I think, amongst the other game types. Of course, some other people may have created something similar, but this is my choices. All right, when you do earn an ordnance drop, I lowered the ordnance to 50 points, and I had a 10% increase. So every time you earn an ordnance, you have to earn 10% more points to get the next ordnance. Now there is a reason for it, and the reason is what actually drops in the ordnance. Now, if you get an ordnance, you're going to see on the left-hand side or your left selection, you're going to see your precision weapons. They're going to be in there. That's going to be your DMR, your light rifle, and your carbine. So any three of those is going to drop. If you may have noticed that I did not include the battle rifle. I did that for a specific reason, and the reason is you spawn with a battle rifle all the time, and everyone else spawns with a battle rifle all the time. So you should not have a problem with ammo for the battle rifle. I could be wrong, but I don't think you're going to have too much of a problem. Because of 343 adding ordnance drops, they had to incorporate a mechanic to control the power weapons, and that was a despawning of weapons. I think they all despawn within, I don't think 10 seconds. I think they're off the map after you drop them if no one else is touching them. So ammo has always been a problem for me, especially if I get a decent killing streak going on. So that is why I put in your base primary weapons. That's why if you're running out of ammo, you got your ordnance drop, you can call it in, you got more ammo, which is awesome. All right, in the middle section, I also put in your assault rifles. Now that's, of course, the UNSC assault rifle, storm rifle, and the suppressor for the Prometheans. Again, if something that I wanted to add because it adds variety to the game, and it's something you have to earn. All right, and the last one on the right-hand selection. Now this is where it gets interesting in my opinion. Now this is where you're going to get all the other armor abilities. Now I actually have these tiered in a very specific way or specific reason. All right, the top tier, and this is ones I think are the most overpowered for armor abilities. So getting these is going to be a little bit more rare. And if you know what I'm talking about, you're probably going to thinking, yes, you're going to get jetpack and you're going to get active camo in those. That is your top tier. Those are going to be the hardest ones to get. Now drop down a tier. These are going to be a little more frequent, and that is your auto sentry and what's the other one? Promethean vision. Those are also your mid-tier armor abilities. I don't think they're very terribly overpowered, and they do definitely have their uses. All right, and the bottom tier, which is going to be your most often acquired armor ability, is regen field. I actually had another reason that I had this picked out is because regen field to me is just an outright outstanding armor ability to have. If you get this armor ability, you are a team player. You can easily come up behind a teammate that is under fire, drop a regen field, or if you're playing capture the flag, I'll do this. I'll drop a regen field so the flag carrier can run through it and recharge his shields. That is just, to me, is just the best armor ability available, with the exception of Thruster Pack. Of course, that's just my opinion on that one. All right. That is your right-hand selection. Now, what does this really benefit? Now, this actually is, to me, what I really like about this setup. Ultra Slayer or Ultra CTF, because I got different versions of different game types on my file share. What this enables you to do, if you're creating maps or even taking default maps and adjusting spawns and whatever else, this allows you to really consider placing armor abilities on the map. Now, what does this do? It gives you something else to make a run for at any given time. Of course, balance accordingly. Just like Pitfall, I placed the active camo armor ability in Green Hall because that's just where it was to begin with back in the day. And you know what? It is a powerful armor ability, so I can't see why it wouldn't fit on the map. Again, the benefit to this is that once that player that has that armor ability is killed, it has to respawn again, and then you have to go and acquire that armor ability again, which requires you to get map control. It requires you to work as a team. It requires you to watch the timers. It is a much more beneficial aspect of the game because it really helps advocate teamwork all around. But anyways, going to wrap this up here really quick, but that is why I created Ultra Slayer, or the Ultra settings, is because I think ordnance drops and armor abilities really can be incorporated into a more competitive setting. Now, this isn't super competitive by any means. I mean, you're going to want the same across the board no matter what, but it does bring it closer to it, and it does incorporate those mechanics that 343 brought in with Halo 4, and it should be a lot more consistent, a lot more fun, and a lot less frustrating, which is what I like. I said, to me, when I get spawn killed over and over again by somebody with jetpack and assault rifle, that gets frustrating to even me. So that is essentially why I created this. Absolutely, I am going to recommend you try this out. I do have a couple maps more set up for this as well, and so hopefully you try those out. They are all on my file share at the moment. I don't know when I'm going to be taking those down. I am working on a couple of maps with iCleanup, so hopefully I will have those up and running very soon in more competitive setting. Hopefully you might be seeing some of those on Battle Royale very soon, so we'll see what happens. Anyways, guys, that is going to be it for this one. This is kind of a longer video. I do hope you enjoyed it, and if you liked it, please go ahead and hit that like button. If you want to try that out, please try out those game types and put some feedback in the comments down below, because I would love to have some honest-to-God feedback on all these. These are fairly consistent settings. Let me know what you think. All right, now it is time to go. Thanks a lot, guys, for listening. This is the Crazy Spartan, and I am out of here.